Good day.
Get to feel it.
Everyone, I am excited. I am so excited to get back to recordings for the Rise Today Inspirational podcast. Gosh, I've missed these recordings. Here we are in season 2. Season 1 is we just did a big recap on season 1 this morning. Gosh, such inspirational stories that we've shared. And I promise season 2 will be the exact same. Gosh, I've just missed these recordings because I too am so inspired by all of our guests on this show. And today we'll highlight your day, I promise. We've talked, as I said, so many diverse stories in season 1. I just want to highlight some of those. We've talked about cancer. We've talked about depression, men's mental health. We've talked about grief and loss. We've talked about child abuse, domestic violence, disabilities, traumatic brain injuries, weight loss, eating disorders, self-love, self-acceptance. We've talked about sex. We've talked about PTSD. We've talked about parenting matters. We've talked about athletes who have faced open urgent heart surgery. I mean, you name it. Here we cover a broad range of stories to really open up the conversation about hardship and to share tools to stay the course and empower you to thrive through adversity, to bounce back and to cope more positively with the struggles that you face each and every day. And we hope you've loved the diverse range of topics that we've covered. And today we're going to kick this off with season 2. And I'm so excited to get back to these recordings and introduce you to the amazing Taylor. Now, Taylor has lived a life previously as a very strong alpha male known as George, very masculine, fit, handsome, a car mechanic who rides motorcycles and had always battled with this inner turmoil of gender dysphoria and always, feeling different and wanting over time to shine forth this feminine energy, but yet fighting fierce societal pressures and expectations to fit into societal norms, right? And so then she kind of concealed her and made up these phobias about this trans community and faced a lot of inner conflict and struggle trying to conceal her feminine energy from the world. And now, I mean, look at her. She's just amazing. She has found the courage and the confidence to really shine her true colors forth and to be and live this most congruent life with her core values and who she is. And I am just so inspired by it. She is taking Instagram by storm, you guys. You have got to check her out at Lexi Taylor. She is amazing. Yeah, taking Instagram by storm with her confidence and her courage just to shine. And she is with us today to open up the conversation about gender dysphoria and to share tools for you to shine your truest colors forth as well. I am so honored to introduce you to my good friend, Taylor. Welcome to the show, Taylor.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Dr. Erica Harris. I appreciate having me. And show my beautiful self, yes.
Oh gosh, so there's so much to talk about here. So
I'm excited.
And if you can take us back, like let's go back, right, to childhood and as you're growing up as this strong alpha male. Tell me, how are you feeling in these years? Tell me about the struggles that you faced then.
Then, I mean, I always knew I was something different with myself. I apologize for that.
That's okay.
So I just didn't know what it was. I mean, since my childhood, I just could not quite figure out, and I've always questioned everything in society's perspective of how to be, and even in religion, even all aspects of everything. I was always questioning things, and my family can never figure out why. I just was always battling against the norm of what we're supposed to do and be. So I just did what everything was taught to be a male. I mean, to be a guy, you play sports, you be tough, don't show emotions, and you work hard and go to college and do your things and get married and do all those things you're supposed to do. And I did all those things. I mean,
societal normals, just going through the flow, right?
Yeah, I grew up in the Midwest. It was different. We really didn't understand gender sexuality. It's completely different. Both are different, and how we feel as our gender and our sexuality standpoint. So it's just, sexuality doesn't change based off gender, so basically what I'm getting at.
So back then, as a child, did you feel a sense of belonging?
I mean, I think I've always tried just to fit in the best I could.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I played ice hockey as a kid, growing up in high school and being popular and having fun and, trying to stand out and fit in the best way I could. And maybe I just didn't understand how some of the dynamics of how men acted toward women and what women expected and liked and in general for relationships. A lot of it I just didn't understand. Why do you got to be not that, I guess, emotional and connected? I mean, maybe my values of my mother taught me differently, or just maybe I was always connected spiritually and emotionally to what a woman feels. So I just connected with that more on that energy level. So,
I'm sorry. That's okay. Take us through that. So as you're feeling these, I guess, yearnings to express this feminine energy, tell me about that.
I mean, I never really expressed this like during my childhood or growing up, even in high school or even college. I mean, gender dysphoria kind of comes at different times with everybody else. Sometimes it was like something's up privately. I was more always alone. I didn't really need to interact with other people. I enjoy my solitude. I enjoy reading, getting into my own head and understanding who I am. Most people don't really want to express that or understand what they might find, and it's interesting.
Right.
For that perspective. So, I think I was never felt alone because I was always she was always there in a way. Yeah. Somebody's always there with me.
Interesting.
So even though I was hiking or backpacking and traveling all over the country and doing these amazing things, I just felt I was just more connected alone. So, right. Because you were friends. I mean,
you were with her. You were with her, even as a male. You were with her. She had, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, both identities were always there. So, and I understand the male side very well. I lived, again, I was alpha male. I did all extreme sports you can think of. Everything that was regarded as a male identity, I was definitely it, 100%.
And what was it like feeling, having these two kind of very polar opposite worlds, right? With this very masculine energy and yet wanting to come forth with this more feminine energy. What was that like for you in that time? What did you feel emotionally, like deep within?
Deep within, I mean, I think it's just, I was just happier expressing my femininity when I was in private. I was just more comfortable.
In private.
And to put on the male ego, like to really kind of put on the mechanic out uniform or whatever you're doing for suit, whatever, and have his ego. It was harder to live that life and portray that image than being a female.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to act a certain way, right? And like it's expected from society and movies and TV and media. It's like, well, who said that's right? I mean, they can't show emotions. Women can. Again, I was married. I dated plenty of beautiful, gorgeous women. So I know that they can express their femininity, their artistic ability. They're just more happy, content. Nobody's judging them.
So tell me, how did this play out when you say that you would only express this feminine energy in private?
In private, certain relationships, they were okay with bringing this out in me. Let's put it that way, and allowed it to express it. So I'm very grateful for those individuals that allowed me to express that. So, and it was just something that I'm very open. I don't judge. It's like, if it feels good, it feels right, continue doing it. It's okay to express yourself.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's genderly, sexually, clothes, makeup, whatever. I mean, it's just, we live in, we're so used to two very binary worlds, male and female.
Yeah, right. You've told me in previous conversations that because of this need that you felt to be private about it, like you would get on your motorcycle and off you would go out to the trees or out hiking, right? Yeah. And then out there, wear your feminine clothes or express that feminine energy out there where you felt safe to do so outside of the public eye. Is that right?
Of course. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, the motorcycle trips, I did it privately, and then I get kind of upset to myself that I'm expressing my femininity. It's kind of just like what transphobic, your own mind of what society has taught us. Like, you look in the mirror like, oh my God, what am I doing? I can't be doing this. Why am I expressing my femininity? Why do I like it? And then I'll take off and do the masculine side and go work on my motorcycle and then go take off to the middle of nowhere and do a backpacking trip on my bike. And try to push it away. It's running. You know, you're running from the aspect that you might be you have gender dysphoria, you might be transgender, why you're expressing this, and that's the part of the battle of gender dysphoria.
Do you think you were running because of this underlying feeling of shame? You talk about guilt, but do you think it was really rooted with shame?
Well, of course. I mean, the image that I was portraying out there was very alpha male. You know, it's very in a male-dominant industry throughout my life as a contractor. You know, built golf courses. You know, mechanic, you name it, I've done it. And it's just, it was, how do you come out and be like, hey, you know, I want to express my femininity, what I'm privately doing. And if I don't express it and come out, I'm self-isolating myself. So it was actually danger for myself, mentally torturing myself to say, okay, I can't do this anymore. I can't run off to hiding, to feel and be her. And then go back and forth and change my demeanor, change off my clothes, you know, take off the makeup and everything else. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to go play with that identity. And so who's going to win?
I can't imagine the sense of inner turmoil and inner struggle, inner conflict that you must have been battling. And, you know, I'm a firm believer that when we don't live our most congruent, authentic self, that, you know, we're pushing down those hard emotions. We're trying not to deal with them. We're trying to run away from those hard emotions, right? But over time, when we keep doing that, that builds up within us. It doesn't go anywhere, right? That transforms within us to mental health issues, to physical health issues, you name it, right? We can only bury that for so long. And how, you know, just like the compassion, the compassion that comes from my heart for you, living this inner conflict in the face of such societal pressures to fit in and be normal, like my heart just breaks. And this subject is a really passionate one for me. You know, as a mom, we've obviously had a lot of friends over for my boys through the years, right? And this was a really standout moment for me as a parent, the one that I'm going to share right now, as a parent, and just as a human in general. And, you know, my oldest at the time was just 3. He had another beautiful 3-year-old buddy over at the time. And this little friend had walked up to me when my son was, I don't know, picking up something from upstairs. And the little boy looks at me. I was standing in the middle of my kitchen. Yeah. And this little boy just looks up at me and he said, you know, Auntie Erica, I feel like a girl in a boy's body. Right. And there is just something deeply rooted. Like we just know from the get-go what we're born to do and who we're born to be. And, you know, I just feel so much compassion in my heart for those people that are forced because of societal pressures to not shine their most authentic, truest self forward. So, gosh, like you just inspire me so much. And I want to show you, everyone, for whoever's live and whoever will watch this video later. So
yes, I don't think anybody has seen these pictures. I mean, unless they knew who I was or followed.
You can witness the amazing, you know, you can witness Taylor coming out of, like, I guess a caterpillar, coming a butterfly, right? Coming out of this shell, right? So this was, I don't know if I'm showing this properly. This was our girl Taylor before as George, right? Everyone knew her as George. And here we go. Like one like good looking dude, right? Like very handsome.
I was,
right? Like super, super handsome and very masculine, very alpha male, right? And look at her today, this beautiful ray of sunshine, because she did find that courage and confidence to shine her bright colors forth. And so we are here to propel a message to inspire our audience and anyone struggling, you know, whether it's with gender dysphoria or any topic, to shine their truest colors forth. So Taylor's going to give us some strategies and tools, and she's going to, you know, tell us more about her journey and the medical side of this and the cost of it all. We've just touched the iceberg here, but it's very much a conversation that I'm incredibly passionate about. Okay, so let's just get back to it. So when you start making the decision, what was that pivotal moment that really was the icebreaker to go from George to Taylor? You've made that commitment now. You're going down this path of becoming Taylor. What was that pivotal moment?
Well, again, I couldn't run anymore. You can't outrun gender dysphoria. I mean, I would freak out, get scared, and then I'll, you know, move to a different state, and maybe I'll throw all my clothes away. It's called purging, and be like, okay, I'm just going to stop. it's going to go away, or I'll date another woman, a relationship would change it and fix it. It still comes back. It doesn't matter what you do. So, you know, and I moved cross country for work, and I lived in Alabama and Tuscaloosa, and worked in, again, a factory for Mercedes pretty much, and just being like, okay, I'm still hiding, dealing with this, but I was actually I was planning my time to get out. I knew I couldn't do it anymore. But financially,
and how old were you then?
I'm sorry?
How old were you then?
I was 41, 42.
Wow.
I'm 43. I just turned 43. So,
looking good.
I mean, well, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, it's like the fountain of youth, I swear. Okay. It's beauty of estrogen. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I can't keep running. And so after living in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I had a great time in the South. And again, I respect everybody's perspective of life and what makes them happy. So I don't judge anybody. If they're a good person, I don't care what they're doing. That's why I can move to like Arizona, Alabama. But I was at George. I was kind of like protecting her, and I was scared to go. Mm-hmm. I knew I was dealing with this, and I was just like, okay, I have to do what I have to do to make money to kind of save up to do this. This isn't.
Because it's costly. Yeah.
It's very extremely costly. And so I did a lot of research, knew what I was doing, and I kind of self-diagnosed myself with gender dysphoria. And if you're actually like looking into this and understand it, you have it. Like you don't, this just doesn't come to your head.
Interesting.
You just don't wake up like, yeah, I want to be a woman. It's just, it doesn't occur that way.
So if you're questioning, get those resources, right, to help. And
well, it is, yeah. I mean, I'm just good about just really kind of doing research and understanding myself by traveling, you know, and being isolated in beautiful locations with my, you know, overland truck that I have. And just see pictures with the G and the motorcycle. Yeah. You know, so, go ahead. Sorry.
No, so facing this move, you chose to move because of these societal pressures. Yes?
Yeah.
In where you were
living. Of course, yeah. I mean, I'm like, I'm not going to come out. There's no way I'm supposed to be doing this.
Of course. So, and I want to highlight to our audience something that really I really found admirable in our conversations. I mean, you inspire me on so many fronts, but you said something the other day that really connected with me. And you're not on a mission to change people's views or as to what they feel, you know, as to how to live their own lives, right? But you are on a mission to help, you know, propel ways to increase acceptance, right? Which is a really big difference between being on a mission to be like, no, this is right for me, it's right for you, right? The notion of acceptance is what you're all about, which I love.
Well, you have to own it.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. I'm like, okay, either I'm going to cope with this my whole life and mentally torture myself, and you can do it, and people do it because they're afraid of societal, you know, exposure of thoughts of who you are and how you express yourself. And a lot of other places, unfortunately, throughout the country and the world, don't allow people to express themselves. I live in California. I've been in California quite some time, but it's the beauty of California. We get to express ourselves, you know, and so we all should be able to. But I'm well accepted everywhere I go, even as her, because I own it. And when people meet me, their perception is I'm a woman, and I own it, and I act like a woman. And I love
that confidence. And we'll talk about how that's come. But okay, so you move, and now you're kind of at ground zero. You decide you want to go from George to Taylor. What's your first step?
First step? Oh, I mean, you have to actually. I first really started getting like dressing up in public. Like you have to start really accepting the fact this is what you're doing. You have to understand, okay, well, I need to express it not just in privately. I have to be out in the world doing this. And can I do it? Am I strong enough to? Because in the beginning, people they're gonna tell. Yeah. They're gonna know that, you know, that you're different and you're standing out. You just have to not care their perception because you know who you are, what you've been battling, and to set yourself free. So you don't care. Like, I don't care if I'm not bothering you. I don't care what you're doing. You know,
I think people think about us a lot less than we think that they think about us. Yeah. You know, like, yeah. And but it takes a long time to realize this.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You have to be very, very strong. Like, you have to not care of people's perception.
But it's so freeing. It's also so freeing and so liberating when you get to that point, right? Like, it just almost sets you afloat, sets you free. Yeah.
Yes, it's a very liberating feeling. It's absolutely to be able to really be truly yourself and not really care what people think, but you're doing it well. Like I said, I present myself well as a woman.
Yeah.
You know,
so you start wearing, you know, more feminine clothing. You probably start doing your makeup. And I had asked the other day about your hair because I didn't even know. I just assumed you could grow your hair. But of course, like bald patches and other things, you can't just grow your hair. So all of these things come into it. Like,
oh, yeah.
And so you start changing. And then what medically, what were your first steps? I mean, getting counseling or medically, what were your first steps for that?
Well, the first step was I went to the LGBT center in Los Angeles. I'm like, I know I need to talk to somebody. I think I'm transgender. Again, I was in Key West, Florida, in private and out in public, expressing herself. Said, okay, I need to get back to home. I live in LA, and who do I talk to when I get back? So that's when I said, okay. I got introduced to a psychologist. That's a private psychologist, and she has a PhD. I don't know should I say her name? Is it okay? You know? Should I say her name or no?
Sure.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know. So her name was...
I love sharing resources so that if you love these resources, share resources so that anybody hearing this show can make a first step, right? Like this whole point of this is to help pave the path for others. Yeah. Of
course. Yeah, definitely. So I was like, who else do I talk to privately? You know, because they were busy because of COVID and all this stuff like that. I go, I need to know. I need to know the process and understand this before I rationally make any decisions of hormones and the process of transitioning. So her name's Dr. Z, PhD. She's a specialist in gender health, and she's got a great YouTube channel that I advise a lot of people that come to me on Instagram about gender dysphoria and transitioning. I said, just go look at some of her YouTube channels. So it's Dr. Z, PhD. She has a YouTube channel. She's very informative about gender dysphoria, but only works with clients that are 28 years and older.
Okay.
That have a career, have a life, family.
Why? Why 28 years and older?
She won't meet with younger clients because she thinks part of your brain is not fully developed to make these decisions.
I see.
And I think society as well, with Instagram and social media and webs, all this information about trans individuals, I think younger generations have a very difficult time understanding their perception of what gender is and who they are. Yeah. Some start too early.
You want to make sure that you're ready to make that really big decision and that really big leap. Yeah, makes sense.
You're changing your gender. This is no joke.
Yeah.
So, you're presenting yourself in public as a woman. You're moving forward that way, and so you have to. So, I met with her, Dr. Z, and I got expressing what I was doing throughout my life, and she meets thousands of trans individuals dealing with gender dysphoria, and some are very, pro athletes and so forth that deal with this. And so, she's very well respected to myself and each other and having this intellectual conversation. So I got diagnosed with gender dysphoria. She said 100%, and you need to start moving forward with hormones to start dealing with this mental struggle you're dealing with and your identity.
And what was that like for you to have that validation?
Oh, it was huge because basically you think you're crazy. Like there's something wrong with you and you shouldn't be doing this. And why am I doing it? And so it comes down to the point goes, there's nothing wrong with you. You just have dysphoria and you just have a woman's spirit and you want to express it. And
at the fundamental level, that validation, right, is such a key point as we heal through any struggle, right? No matter what we're going through, no matter what mountain we each have to climb, at the end of the day, pain is pain, hurt is hurt, and grief is grief, right? And that fundamental thread connects us all, no matter what we're going through. But yeah, that's just powerful. Yeah. And that validation helps so much as we overcome from that pain, hurt, grief, whatever we're going through.
Well,
the first step. Yeah.
It's a very, very important step. And so that was, you also need in California for medical purposes.
Got it.
Excuse me. You need to be diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Hormones are a consent in California, which I think you still need to be diagnosed. Like you need to, to me, in my perspective, I wouldn't start taking hormones unless I really knew this is what I was doing. I wasn't cross-dressing.
Yeah.
I wasn't non-binary.
Yeah.
This is all my thoughts. Because I knew all the categories that we want to label everything, which that's what we do, and I don't get it, but whatever. So we need to. It's
so important, though, right? To reach out to somebody who can give us a non-biased opinion.
It's not your
factual. Yeah.
And it's like, how do I step out from an alpha male to a woman as a female?
Yeah.
So she kind of helped me cope and see and understand the steps. And so I had to, so it was liberating to know that, okay, I have gender dysphoria. I'm going to transition. I have to start expressing her and just be out. So I've been out, again, I've been on hormones. That was the next step, pretty much, was to get on hormone replacement therapy, or HRT. And that's with testosterone blockers and estrogen. So that was the first step. That was a scary moment. Like, oh my, okay, here we go. You know, it's like almost taking what you want, the blue pill or the red pill.
And what does this look like? Is it a pill? Is it injections? What does this look like?
In the beginning, I just took oral tablets. You do it sublingually. Okay. You put it there, those small little estrogen tablets twice a day, depending on your blood work they take, and kind of change those amounts it's required and needed. And and then the Spiro is for testosterone blockers, you know, so. Okay. And that this changes your body. You have to understand that, like, things are changing. And so you have to, it's again, it's no joke, but to me, hormones.
It's a big first step. Yeah.
It's a big first step. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's, to me, your hormones are balanced. Like you're reducing the testosterone, the estrogen. So your feminine qualities start to come out as who you are and expressing it truthfully. Yeah. So you're like, and you just go with it. It makes you feel more like a woman because, you know, you're basically going through a second puberty in a way, but not really, at 43 years old.
Interesting, right? Yeah. But this flux of hormones and the rise and flow that comes with that, I bet.
I guess that's it's a different perspective of estrogen. I think things are more colorful.
Yeah, interesting. I love that. We women were pretty colorful. Yep.
So, and then, of course, the next step is getting approved as well with electrolysis, and that's basically removes facial hair. Okay. And so the LGBT Center also helped me very well in LA, but most of them do, with getting diagnosed, talking with them. They're talking with a primary doctor with their health insurance, and then kind of doing the blood work, and then they start doing the referrals for, you know, breast augmentation.
Yeah. And so just to highlight for our listeners, Taylor is here at this point of doing electrolysis. Yes. And it's very time consuming, very extensive process, right? Yes. And tell us more about that.
Oh, I mean, of course, being at 42, as you can tell from my pictures, had a very, very elaborate beard. So it's very coarse hair, so you have to individually kill each hair with probably electrolysis or some electrode, and then of course they yank it out of your face. You have to grow it out just enough so they can take it. So you're battling this. You see your male identity disappearing. Like, so you're changing every day. And trust me, the first time I did it, my upper lip, and had lidocaine shots, and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, and I had to go back and re-talk to my psychologist. Like, well, maybe I made a mistake. Like, this happens.
Yeah, of course. Like, just like, I think, how do I phrase this? Going through the stages of grief after loss, right? It's always up and down. Yes. And then just like you're grieving, losing this life that you did before and the way that you've always lived it, right? At the same time as being so excited for everything that's ahead. So of course that would also be like this. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's exactly what it was. Like, okay, you are letting go of this other individual that's always still there. Yeah. And during the process, you try to figure out how to be your male identity and the qualities that are there, what you've learned, to express it with your feminine side.
Yes. With my coaching clients, a lot of them feel guilt, shame, self-judgment, whatever it may be, as we're working through personal development, right? They take so many strides, and then it ends up being this kind of dippy world where they get back into old habits that have been ingrained for decades, right? And then they have this self-judgment, but I always kind of describe it as like, our trajectory is kind of like, going on an upward at a 90-degree angle. And if you imagine yourself like a slinky, almost, if I pull out a slinky on that 90-degree angle, it kind of goes up and down, right? And when we come down, when we allow ourselves that safe space, to be real and to feel those emotions of coming down, that boosts us up even higher on the rebound as we go up that climb of the slinky. So yeah, we need to really switch from a point of self-judgment when we feel these things to self-compassion. And I think that's all really beautiful.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was actually, yeah, I mean, that's basically, You said it very well.
But it's still the path of personal development, right? It doesn't happen overnight. We're all growing every day. We're all changing our habits. And although we try to practice through mindfulness and through these tools, you know, we're all just practicing, and it's human. We slip, we make mistakes, right? And we get back up and we get back on our path. But adopting more self-compassion versus self-judgment is a huge part of any healing process. Yeah. And recognizing, shoot, like I'm just going through a ton right now. And as you are going through so much, so of course you're going to be going up and down like this.
Well, yeah, you're balancing out, you know, careers, how do you make money? I mean, it's also going to like tireless. Again, that's twice a week sometimes. And you said for 6 hours sometimes at a time. Typically it's 3 hours. Sometimes I have two working hours. I mean, so wow. It's extensive. And it takes 1 to 2 years. Wow. So you're not really able to work much in this time because this is a health diagnosis, right? That you're transforming through, and you need to commit yourself to this. So it must be difficult to make funds for you right now and to make an income. It's extremely difficult. Yes. You know, it's because every 1 or 2 weeks, sometimes 3. I mean, I have my voice consultation coming up, voice therapy. Yeah. And then that's next week. And so then I have electrolysis again. I have a cancellation. I have to drive to Beverly Hills, and it's sitting traffic, and it's a whole day process. No, I understand this part too well. And, you know, people from the outside who don't necessarily, people from the outside see me and they think I'm like always thriving, right? It is still a full-time job for me to stay alive after everything I've been through. And I am at the hospital like 4 times a week mostly, you know? And I kind of say like, you know, I'm going to work when I go to the hospital because I see them all as my colleagues, you know, but it's the same thing with you. Like no matter what, we're each going through totally different things, right? But at the end of the day, it's still this feat of paying for the cost of your treatment and balancing all that out with time. Yeah. It's difficult because with my experiences, if I want to work full time, I can't. And so I'm considered like a liability for them because they need. So I have to work on their schedule the best I can, and it'll take longer for the whole process to go through. So I'm like, I'm trying to go as fast as I possibly can. Yeah. To financially be able to sustain myself. On that note, what do you think is like, I don't know, an ETA for the final, you know, Taylor, done medical procedures, like done all of that, and Taylor walks out, and yes. It actually takes 2 to 5 years. I mean, if you can get 2 surgeries done in 1 year, you're flying. If you can do 3, you're really hauling. You can take a lot of pain. It's very, very painful. I mean, to do electrolysis, it's not fun. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's just no joke. But it's all worth it, right? It's all worth it. Making you beautiful. That's why I said like, women not understand to be beautiful. It takes a lot of time. So I want to be real about another conversation that you and I had before, which I found also really interesting and admirable, and open up this conversation because, you know, when you were growing up and through years, you always found yourself to be attracted to women. And so although you were going through this gender dysphoria, you're kind of questioning yourself. You're like, I'm attracted to women. Like, what's going on here? You know? So, and you're still attracted to women. Is that correct? That is correct. Yes. 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 And so it wasn't about sex for you going through all of these changes. It was really about shining your feminine energy forth. And I think, I could be wrong, perhaps I have ignorance in this arena, but I think that's a big misconception for a lot of people. Oh, it is. It's huge. I mean, you don't, because people perceptions that, okay, if I'm transitioning into a woman, you must like men. Yeah. I mean, majority of trans women, I can't speak for all of them. I think that's their sexual preference. Yeah. For me, it's just, I love women. I've always have. You know, I think they can express themselves. And I just always, with gender dysphoria, like, I always want to know what it felt like to be like that. Yeah. It doesn't go away. You know, like, I wonder what does it feel like to live that other side in gender and express. So what would you say to your younger self? You know, in the same manner as what would you say to somebody now who's going through what you were experiencing before? I just feel different. You know, I want to shine this forth. I feel different. What would you say to your younger self now, looking back on your journey? Myself, I wouldn't change anything. Yeah. I wouldn't, because you can't, for one. It brought me to the point of teaching who I am. Excuse me. The strength, the courage to become, you know, who I am today, and just figuring out myself and have the courage to come out. I mean, this is the big step. I tell people it's like jumping off a cliff.
Right. How can you encourage others to have that same courage to do so?
For everybody, it's different. Excuse me. I'm sorry. It's different. I mean, I just learned it, but my male identity taught me that. So I'm trying to like, how do I teach younger generations? Like, okay, I think I'm, you know, I want to be a woman, but I've been with women. Again, I've done all these things, and I'm like, I still want to be a woman after what I've done as a male. So I can't, it's hard for me to say that. I'm very happy with my life. I'm very grateful with my male identity, what I've learned. I'm glad I've learned all those things.
I love that. Well,
I don't try to push it away. It's like,
I think you shared really great steps too. I think you shared really great steps too before, of reaching out to the communities, right? And getting that support in place and really asking the questions to get those diagnoses if that's the case. I think that was really powerful. I'm a firm believer that, you know, we change societal pressures, expectations of the quote unquote norms. We change acceptance by teaching our next generation and fostering a different level of acceptance in our next generation. What can we do as parents? What are lessons that we can teach our kids to have greater acceptance moving forward?
In my thought, I mean, this is going to come out no matter what. I mean, if you're expressing yourself and it makes you feel good, then you're gonna continue eventually. That's how I look at it. Maybe a younger generation. Again, maybe I was really, really young. My mom caught me a couple times, taught me I was wrong, and I just stopped. So I guess it did stop. Yeah, I was very, very young. You know, I had an older sister, so you know, my mom caught me, but kept it from everybody else. Mm-hmm. So, and I just
caught you wearing feminine clothes when you say caught you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so I guess in a way I've always wanted what it felt like, but.
And you would wear your sister's clothes, Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I get caught once in a while with that, you know, and it just kind of got pushed away, you know. You don't really express it again, and you just don't.
And like we talked about, all those layers when we push things down, right? And that cycle fluctuates. Yeah. No, I understand.
So it's difficult to say. I mean, I think now they're more exposed to expressing their different identities and gender-wise. I think maybe, again, depending on the family, if their acceptance to it. Excuse me. I mean, like and for myself, my family never saw this coming. Mm-hmm. When I came out, said I'm transgender, or my friends, because again, the pictures were like, I didn't show any femininity at all. Mm-hmm. Wasn't flamboyant, never was, never expressed anything like that. You know, so they were like totally blown away by it. A lot of us taught myself well to hide it and push it down and just. You know,
I think families and those who love us also have to go through their own period of grief, right? For and right or wrong, you know, so many parents form these expectations of what will happen in the future for their children, right? And they picture the white picket fence, they picture the family, they picture the grandbabies, right? Yep. And I think part of that acceptance that we keep talking about really comes down to allowing the families and our friends the space to grieve that loss of what they thought, right or wrong, right, was going to come, and fostering that level of acceptance of all the greatness that is ahead too in this new direction. So,
I mean, my family's in their own process of grieving. I knew I respected them very, very much. That it was going to be very hard for them. Again, their expectations of what the picket fence, the house, the grandbabies, and all that kind of stuff like that. And I always kind of let them know, I'm like, I really don't want kids. It's not going to happen. I knew I was different. I didn't know how I was going to come about with it. I like my freedom. You know, it's my choice though. You know, so I can travel the world and express myself. So it's just what I don't think what happiness is. It's a different norm from everybody else, completely. Yeah. And family can't accept that.
Taylor, every word that comes out, you just inspire me more and more every time we speak, every time I see your posts. I am so proud of you. I'm so proud to know you. I am such a big fan of your courage and your confidence. And I hope this transcends through our audience to help them shine their truest colors forth. I really, really thank you for being here with us.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure to be here.
Okay, risers and thrivers, that is a wrap for the first show of season 2. We hope you've loved season 1. We've got a big lineup for you ahead in season 2 as well. All the best. Rise today, my friends. Bye.
It's gonna be a good day.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Take this inspiration forward. Learn more at risetoday.com/podcast. And please do help us in our mission to spread hope, inspiration and positivity by encouraging those in your circle to join us and to tune in for our next show of inspiration coming soon. Please contact us if you have a powerful story to share with us to inspire the world. Until next time, get out there and rise today.